I'll tell you what, you don't need one of these to figure out that the Arkansas River is running very high. We are live at the Big Dam Bridge, right smack dab in the middle, where 2.16 million gallons of water per second is flowing by us, an incredible amount of water. We've got trails flooded on both sides of the park. The good news is rivers are going to be going down. The bad news is we are going to see a little bit more rain. We got a lot of folks out here just kind of checking out the high water. But they're getting a little wet because we've got a few light showers moving through, and they'll continue. Your forecast first for Little Rock. We're looking for a 20% chance of showers this evening, scattered showers and thunderstorms as we head toward first thing tomorrow morning. We're going to start your Thursday at 60. KARK4 News at 6 starts right now.
From the station you count on for local news that matters. This is KARK4 News at 6.
We have to be prepared for an incident like that should it occur here in Little Rock.
It does more to aggravate or incite rioting than it does to deter it.
Police in Central Arkansas reacting to violent clashes in other states by stepping up efforts to protect its officers. Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight at 6. I'm Bob Clausen.
And I'm Ashley Ketz. Some worry the big purchase of riot gear could end up further alienating some segments of the community. Drew Patrimo joins us now in the studio for this story you'll see only on KARK.
Well, Bob and Ashley, next week the Little Rock Board of Directors is set to approve $340,000 in spending. Some of that money going to outfit officers with this new equipment. Over the last week and a half, every certified officer at the Little Rock Police Department has been fitted for riot gear.
And he can use the riot shield to help protect his helmet and face also, and it goes down and covers above the knees.
Currently, the equipment is only issued to the 45 members of the Special Response Unit, but the department wants to buy enough for all 535 officers. Raymond Farrell is the department's quartermaster.
He's got the riot helmet on with a gas mask here. These helmets are also designed where they have a neck protection shield on the back.
To get an idea of what it feels like, we strapped on leg guard, a gas mask, and a helmet.
We want to see how it would stand up to a potential attack. As you can see, even though this is still pretty light equipment, it can still stand up to a pretty solid attack.
The department says recent clashes between police and protesters in cities like Baltimore show the need to step up officer protection.
We have to be prepared for an incident like that should it occur here in Little Rock.
It does more to aggravate or incite rioting than it does to deter it.
But civil rights activist Roselle Aaron worries the new equipment will increase the possibility of protests turning violent.
As a result of a traffic stop on 12th Street.
He points to a tense situation in Little Rock 2 summers ago when he says an angry crowd actually dispersed when officers showed restraint.
Well, I think in the African American and poor community that there's already an expectation that police are there to use force on them.
A Little Rock police spokeswoman says the chief is worried about officers looking too much like soldiers. But adds that keeping the community safe means making sure officers are prepared for whatever may come their way.
Anything to help protect the officers, they tend to be in favor of.
Now, Little Rock Police says that officers will not be required to receive additional training once the riot gear is issued.
We are your weather authority. The effects of heavy rain still being felt across the state. Suzanne Bruner joining us live from Pine Bluff, where waters there are running very high and will continue to do so, Suzanne.
Yeah, hey, Bob, we're out here at Regional Park in Pine Bluff where floodwaters are starting to take over the area. Right now, entry gates are closed, and this is why. This is just one road partially covered with water, but if you walk with me this way, this is one of the main roads of concern here. The park director telling me roughly a third of the roads in this park now covered with water, but if you decide to drive down further that way, you will find a golf course. There's also several baseball fields which are expected to flood as well. There's also a campground area which is expected to be okay because it's on higher ground. However, folks can stay there if they don't need to leave. Other than that, they're being encouraged to evacuate if they do need to come in and out of this park. However, I want my photographer to zoom in over to my left. You see that building over there? Well, that is the Radio Control Flying Club building. A member came out here just to check on the conditions, and he was telling me that building, 4 feet of that is underwater. There's actually also a landing strip right next to it that you can't see, but we did catch some campers driving through here. Didn't have any issues, but ADE DEM telling me we could see more flooding out here, so this could worsen. But we're going to stay out here, and we'll bring you a live report tonight at 10 p.m. In the meantime, we're reporting live out here in Pine Bluff. Suzanne Bruner, KARK 4 News.
All right, Suzanne, we'll see you tonight at 10 o'clock. We are, of course, your weather authority. As high waters go down in one part of the state, as you just saw in Pine Bluff, they rise in another. Take a look at the wetlands near the Clinton Presidential Center in Little Rock. Naturally, they are wetlands. They're supposed to be wet, but they're on the Arkansas River, which is high right now. It's considered to be at minor flood stage. It's expected to peak at 42.7 feet sometime tomorrow morning.
And funeral services have been set for a couple killed in a tornado. The visitation for Michael and Melissa Mooneyham is happening now from 6 to 8 p.m. at Latimer Funeral Home in Nashville. They will be laid to rest at 10 o'clock Thursday morning at Ozanne Cemetery in Bingen. That's in Hempstead County. An account also has been set up by the families of the Mooneyhams at Diamond Bank to help them pay for funeral expenses. You can contact the bank or visit one of its branches to make a donation.
Because money matters, prosecutors across the state getting final approval for a pay raise today. 25 elected prosecutors will see salary increases of 23% to more than $150,000 per year. The boost approved by the Commission of Citizens charged with examining salaries of elected officials. You can take a look what the proposed salaries are for other state officials on our website, arkansasmatters.com.
State agencies responsible for protecting children who have been abused and neglected, giving lawmakers a look at the services they provide and the cases they've worked and the obstacles they face. KARK4's Marcy Manley at this legislative meeting today. And Marcy, there are areas where these agencies are saying they have room to improve to protect the kids.
Yeah, Ashley, the committee heard from state police and the DHS Division of Children and Family Services. Last year, more than 31,000 valid allegations of child maltreatment came through. That means those cases go on to be worked by investigators who, it seems, may be carrying excessive loads, leading to lower than expected performance in checking up on these kids.
Sexually molest and the teacher's children.
Members of the Children and Youth Committees don't get to talk about the happiest moments of childhood.
We do work cases where there are in-home offenders.
The State Police Child Abuse Hotline investigating nearly 5,800 serious child abuse complaints last year. 40% of those found to be true, substantially higher than the national average of 28%.
Arkansas has some of the strictest maltreatment laws in this country to protect children.
And it's expected to reach 85% on performance indicators, which it failed to do in half of the categories, including seeing victims within 24 hours for severe cases like those involving sexual abuse, failure to have an investigator meet with less serious case victims within 3 days, and concluding investigations within 45 days.
An investigator could be on one case and get assigned another.
DHS giving its account for 22,000 investigations, where an average of 20% of maltreatment complaints were substantiated versus the national percentage of 18%.
We have approximately 75 caseworkers that are required to do both those foster care and protective services.
It struggles with performance indicators due to caseload, falling short with caseworkers meeting foster children monthly at 76% and for in-home children at 66%.
We do look at that, and we do get assistance from neighboring counties.
Both agencies telling lawmakers they do the best with what they have, but some advocates for children say without more staff, these agencies will fall short of helping those who need it most. Advocates would just say for you to keep in mind that those thousands of numbers that you saw, those are kids with faces attached to them. Workers at DHS, their caseloads average out to about 25 cases per worker, well above the 15 cases set by national standards. In some counties, those numbers, as you can see, skyrocket up to 40 cases per worker. So there's an issue there of staffing for the large number of kids who have cases out there. Bob and Ashley, back to you.
All right, Marcy, thanks very much. And now to an update tonight on emergency rules approved today to require grain dealers in the state to register and get a license before doing deals in Arkansas. Those changes come after a new law was passed this session requiring dealers to register with the state. The law change prompted by a grain dealer that went belly up last summer. It cost farmers millions, and the state plant board saying these rules set up the process for keeping track of grain dealers for the very first time.
Jacksonville police arrest a woman after neighbors spot a small child playing in the street. Renique Jacobs, the mother of the child, was arrested at Chapel Ridge Apartments. It came after police knocked on a few doors and found the child's aunt, who noted the boy was indeed missing. At the same time, another officer found Ms. Jacobs. She's now facing child endangerment charges.
Because education matters, a task force looking into the controversial Common Core program meeting today in Little Rock. Today, that panel examined the testing aspect of Common Core. They heard from several companies that actually make the exams, as well as teachers and officials from the Arkansas Department of Education. The panel has been holding hearings like this one across the state to look at a variety of issues surrounding Common Core.
The implementation has been a hit and miss across the state. Some communities have done a really good job of communicating about what they're doing. Other communities have not.
Now, Task Force Chair Lieutenant Governor Tim Griffin hopes to have preliminary recommendations on Common Core in Arkansas to the governor in the next month and a half. That final report, though, coming out in the fall. People protesting against the state takeover of the Little Rock School District in the River Market today. People with the Our Communities, Our Schools group held those signs and picketed just in front of the Little Rock Chamber of Commerce. They say only 6 of the district's 48 schools were in academic distress, and they say there is a lack of democratic governance when it comes to running the district now.
Yet they use that as an excuse to take over the whole district, abolish the school board. It's totally unnecessary. It leaves parents and voters and taxpayers with no accountability whatsoever.
The school district has been under state control since January. The state recently hired Baker Curris as superintendent after the former superintendent Dexter Suggs resigned amid questions of plagiarism. Still to come on KARK 4 News at 6, an investigation uncovers some people involved in the construction of Arkansas bridges did not receive the proper training. Find out what has happened since that information was brought to light.
And we've got a little bit of light rain moving into central Arkansas. The good news is it should not aggravate any flooding problems. We are live at the Big Dam Bridge between Little Rock and North Little Rock, where we've got millions of gallons of water making their way past our location. Got more rain in the forecast. We'll let you know how often it'll be here and when to expect it in just a couple minutes.
From the station that brings you local news that matters, this is KARK 4 News at 6 in high definition. With Bob Clausen, Ashley Katz, Chief Meteorologist Keith Monahan, and Aaron Peters with your Razorback Nation report.